TG Geeks, episode 163, April 2nd, 2018. Discovery has altered the carbon of canon. Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the two gay geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery. Sci-fi, comics, film, horror genre, you name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane, and we are coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely Anaheim, or Disney, Phoenix, Arizona.
And I'm Ben Raggington, also coming to you from, now the last stinger hurt my head. This one was really clever. Yeah. I liked that one. That was that was really, really smart. And I'm also coming to you from lovely Disneyland. I mean Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, because actually we just came back from Disneyland.
As the time you are now listening to this episode, yes,
we're getting ready to go as the time
listening. We're recording, we are preparing to go to Disneyland.
Yeah, so in this episode, we're not going to have any feedback because we're recording it a week ahead of time so that we can release it and we can go on vacation for a couple of days next weekend.
We need
which was the weekend before you're listening to this, and the time shift is making me cuckoo. It's kind of like when we do those 5 or 6 episodes ahead of time so we can go take a vacation.
Yeah.
I can't remember. What are we talking about? Which week? What day?
If it's Tuesday, it must be Belgium.
Yeah, exactly. So we got a couple of things in this first segment. We're going to talk about altered carbon with our friend Chuck Tomasi, and we're just going to go right to it right now. We're here this time talking to Chuck Tomasi, and we're going to talk about altered carbon.
Mr. Technorama.
Mr. Technorama, yes. I can't forget that.
Where have I heard that name before?
Mr. Technorama. and his lovely wife, Mrs. Technorama.
Who is not running the board right now.
Nope, she's not running the board, but she has been a saint for the last week or so. We'll get into that another time.
That's for another talk. Okay.
So, Altered Carbon on Netflix, new original series. Well,
we talked about it a little bit.
New original series, yeah.
We've had some little conversations about it on our show here and there, but you just had a chance to finally mainline that entire beast. What were your thoughts on that, Chuck?
I didn't mainline it all in one sitting. As
that's a bit tough. I don't mean that. I mean, but
yeah,
you did give a good run on it.
It did take me about 2 or 3 weeks, and I was late to the game coming into it. But I'd watch 2 or 3, and then I'd watch one here, and it was sort of an as needed basis because my wife and I have series that we watch together, and then we have our own individual series that we watch apart, and it seemed like we were spending a lot of time together, so I couldn't watch my series Altered Carbon as much as I had wanted.
Mm-hmm. So this was not a Donna series then?
Not a shared series. She may come back to it at some point.
Okay.
But I absolutely loved it. This was some of the best television I have seen in a long time. I know you had mentioned on your show you compared it with Sense8, or a listener called in with some feedback about that. And what do you think about the two? It's like picking my children apart. Just like,
I know. It's Sophie's choice. How do you compare? You cannot compare. I mean, that's like comparing an apple to a grapefruit.
Well, if you like grapefruit, sure.
Yeah.
or better yet, apples to windows. I mean, how's that? But I'm bummed.
Oh, there we go.
Don't go there. But yeah, wonderful show. Great writing, great lighting, great acting. The cast was just top notch. At first, I have to get over the hey, that's the guy from this show. Joel Kinnaman from last seen in House of Cards as the presidential candidate. James Purefoy, who I watched a couple of seasons of The Following with Kevin Bacon. So it was getting past a few of those, but then the new characters like Martha Higuereta as Christian Ortega, and I loved the Poe character, the AI in the hotel.
Oh my God, he was my favorite.
He was my absolute favorite too. Okay, people. Yeah, let's be honest. Now the series dropped some time ago. You've had your chance. We're gonna go spoilery.
Okay,
so
I was going to ask that. How deep are we going to go?
God, I was heartbroken at the end of that.
We'll put a
we'll warn everyone.
Yeah, before the show.
Yeah, but wow, I was I mean, I loved him. He was fantastic. So of course, when his AI got attacked, I was just devastated.
When he was de-resed.
Basically, he was de-resed.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, and characters like Dimmy the Twin, whatever character who's in, or who my secret other favorite actor is or character was the guy with the bald guy with the tattoo on his head who played not only Grandma Ortega,
yes,
but also one of Dimmy the Twins. I mean, this guy was in and out of there. The whole world of Ben, I think you had a comment about getting into the world and the world building, because they didn't just come out and say, here's what we're doing. It was you're fully immersed.
Yes,
exactly.
And I was quick to pick up on the whole sleeve and stack technology. I thought that was brilliant. Being able to be immortal and being downloaded, and the rich people can upload a copy and print 3D print an organic. I want a 3D organic printer, by the way.
Don't we all?
Exactly.
It was very, at first I kind of went, is this their take on Blade Runner?
Oh, yeah. That was one of the first thoughts that ran through my head, too, is that this really felt like a whole Blade Runner, replicant kind of thing going on. I mean,
that was quickly dispelled.
Right. Yeah, but I could see why, fans of Philip K. Dick would just be completely, falling over themselves for this kind of show, because it's got that kind of implied questioning about what is life, what is consciousness, what the human soul, all of these things. And I like how that was even addressed purely from a religious standpoint as well.
The religious angle was
not to wade into that argument, but I like the fact that they at least presented it. How especially some of the Catholic minded family just found that to be an abomination.
Yeah. Yep. It was great. And you got that right out of the gate. And like you said, it took a few episodes to sort of wrap your head around. It felt like a lot of loose ends, and you're telling yourself, I know they're going to tie this together. I know the lady who fell from the sky is going to be related somehow to the lady who had her brain sort of wiped and is a vegetable in the alleyway. This all ties together. We need the string on the wall thing to tie this together. And the twists and turns that this show took.
Oh, yeah.
My Lord.
I loved the fact that it wasn't predictable beyond, maybe a line here and there.
I mean, Keith and I would just sit and we watch an episode, and then we stop. Okay, we think we know where this is going to go, and of course, then we look at each other and say,
"We're all wrong.
We're always wrong." But it really feels like it's going to go in this particular direction, and this time you're like, I'm so certain it's going to do this, and then they add one new wrinkle, and I'm like, okay, well, my idea's out the window now.
Yeah, right up to the end. I mean, right up to the end. I thought, okay, we got it solved in episode 9. What are they going to do in episode 10 now?
Exactly.
No.
Yeah, and there's 2 more books to this. So
this was a trilogy.
So.
Oh, that's great, because they could have left it here if it was unsuccessful. Obviously, this would have been a nice closing. But it felt like, okay, where is Takeshi Kovacs going to go from here?
Exactly.
Right. What is the next chapter in this story? Because there is this ability to be put back to sleep or put on ice, as they call it, or do you take on another sleeve? Or
that's the thing. A lot of people are saying. In fact, they even interviewed the actor who played Kovacs, and he said he doesn't think he's going to be back for the next at least for the next season, and that someone else is going to be, because that's how it goes in the book. Which is a bummer.
I would be fine with that. I mean, it's a bit Doctor Who-ish, where it's the same doctor, but a little different personality each time.
Yeah, but at the same time, I really dug that actor, and I like his take on it, because one of the things that helped me, and I had some difficulties in the beginning, and I expressed this in the episode. Some of my initial misgivings, it was just tons and tons of world building, so it was like info dump, which made it really hard for me to wrap my head around. But what I loved was the whole noirish quality to it.
Yes.
And that is part and parcel to the actor who played Kovac. I thought he really captured that whole gumshoe kind of that whole presentation in his character. I mean, he did such an amazing job with it.
I hadn't thought about it in that respect, but you're right. He is hired as a detective, so to that end, well played, well done, well executed, and that initial detective storyline doesn't go where you think it is.
No.
Like we said before, full of twists and turns, and lots of if I do A, then B and C, and there's dirty cops and who owns who and what's the payoff here, and it felt very difficult to move these chess pieces without running into some problem. It was just a fun world to play in. I mean, and I use the word fun loosely because it's high sex, high nudity, high violence. It's like,
it's a very explicit show, and something that Keith and I said as we were approaching the end of this series. It's now that we know exactly where it is going to go, or at least where this story went, with this first season, how it all went. I would not be opposed to actually watching it from the beginning again.
Yeah,
because
I would
now,
too.
because
I would
now
too.
that I understand the world, I think details that maybe I initially just had to dismiss as they were first being presented to me in the earlier part of the series because I couldn't quite grasp them. Maybe I can go back and revisit it, and maybe now they'll serve like Easter eggs to me.
Yeah, little nuances.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good point. I was thinking the exact same thing when I got to the end. I said, maybe I missed something. They were very good about flashbacks to, the lady fell in the lake again.
Right.
Right.
Did we learn anything from this? So you knew she had some point in this. The writers, the camera work was very clear to say it wasn't just a missing detail that Ortega had a body and she stole the stack and all this kind of stuff. It was in your face for a reason to remember this is going to come back. This does tie in.
Right.
And oftentimes I will once I got my head around a lot of those bits, I would skip the recap at the beginning of the show. Skip the recap, skip the intro, and get right back into it. Especially if I'm watching them in sequence. It's tough to go, okay, I just saw this like 5 minutes ago at the end of the last show.
Yeah, but one of the neat things about the recap, though, is that every once in a while they would do a callback to something that happened 4 episodes ago.
Yes.
And that would help inform, like, oh, that's right. This kind of thing did happen, which means that idea is about to resurface in some fashion in this story that I'm about to watch now.
Yeah, and
So I kept with it.
fortunately, they didn't do what some primetime television does, is show you a scene that never aired.
Oh, I hate that.
When was that? Yeah,
What?
I like
Or an alternate scene, of something that did air, but not quite that. The current Doctor Who is famously horrible about that.
I loved the flashback scees. Not necessarily as far back as the children. I thought that was a nice, why does Takeshi, why is Ray so dependent on him? That was interesting. But his girlfriend from his former sleeve 250 years ago,
Right.
is who is this woman? Why is she training him? Where did he come from? And they really unleashed that. What was it, episode 6 or 7?
It was 6.
And
Yeah,
it's like,
they just unloaded.
I thought, I kind of had that inkling, and then when it was revealed, it was like, oh my God, I was right.
That was a great backstory, to a great builder of how they went from children to the what was the name of the protectorate group?
Right.
Anyway, and how he and his sister came back together, and he becomes sort of this double defector. It was really fun to watch that, and how they wrapped that up near the end as to what actually happened. And it was either 8 or 9 when your jaw drops and go, it was her.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Right, it was her the entire time. Of course, now I have to ask this question. Of course, anybody who's read the books probably already knows the answer to this, but for the sake of just just us who've only watched this series, this first series.
And we'll throw this out to our listeners.
Yeah, we're throwing this out.
We want some feedback on this.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I'm wondering about what Ray said about how Kovach's girlfriend, she was saved, and I keep wondering, well, is she telling the truth?
Part of me wants to believe she is, because that's a lead into a future storyline.
Yeah.
Part of me thinks she was just lying to get herself out again.
Well, that's my thought. That's my thought exactly. Because go ahead.
I was just sitting there to the TV going, liar, liar, liar.
You've done nothing but lie.
We'll examine her character. Everything. I mean, and let's be honest. There's something very sick about her in so many ways. The fact, I mean, she's got a very unhealthy set of feelings for her brother. So, I mean, so she wants to own him, and that's one of the reasons why she was like so not wanting that girlfriend around.
But that's what I was thinking too. Is wait a minute. You wanted him all to yourself, all through your life. Anybody who got in his life, you destroyed. So why is suddenly at the end you're saying, I'll give her to you if you come with me? How is sharing all of a sudden on the table?
Exactly. Right. Right. I mean, yeah, I'm screaming liar at the television. Because although, again, I haven't read the two books, I don't know anything about them except that Kovach goes on.
Yeah, I'm in the same situation. I thought the actress who played Raylene is Deitchen Luckman.
I love her.
She was in Dollhouse, and I wasn't quite sure about what I thought of her there, and I've seen her elsewhere as well.
She was in Arrow.
She was in Arrow, yes. And she played an older character. I thought that was interesting. It was whose mother was she?
In Arrow?
Was it? No,
she was on the island.
Oh, she was on the island. No, I'm thinking of some other show, but she's definitely been on a lot of sci-fi shows.
Oh yeah, she
does
genre.
a great job. She blew this role away.
She was fabulous.
This is probably my favorite role she was in.
Which broke my heart when it turns out that she was actually the chief antagonist.
Yeah.
I was really saddened by that.
Not me.
Well, I mean, I was a bit, but I like when she comes in and saves the day, I'm like, holy mother! It was just so exciting. And I thought,
the fight drone scene.
Oh my god, that was awesome.
And the guy who plays the Max Headroom character.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I had his name.
I can't think of the character's name. It's out of my head.
Yeah.
But he was the character was
Matt Frewer. Matt Frewer.
Yes. He does a great job. He's only in 2 episodes. I thought he did a wonderful job
boy,
with that.
What a presence.
Yes. And Marlene Forte, who played Ortega's mom. She was also in Fear the Walking Dead. We had an interview with her on Technorama. I love her too. She is such a wonderful person, wonderful actress, and the characters she brings to life. This is a complete 180 from what she had in Fear the Walking Dead, where she was just the creepiest old lady.
Mm-hmm.
and now she's like, hey, this is everybody's mom. She comes over, she brings you groceries, she nags about grandchildren. It's all.
Yes. She is that typical Mexican or Hispanic matriarch. A Latino matriarch that can be other ethnicities as well, but she certainly fit that role.
I liked what they did though. I mean, it could be other. I mean, it could be the Italian mother.
I loved the investment that this show made in that family. I felt like I was invested in those characters, whether it was mom or Kristen Ortega or even the kids around the table. They had that whole Dios de Muertos celebration, and they spin up Grandma's stack again. Kids, I'm being standing up. They all giggle.
He was so good, and
I
wanted to go back to him. I looked him up on IMDb. He is 0, looks nothing like that character.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I didn't realize that he has a tremendous knack for accents.
Oh, he was fantastic. The way he slipped.
Incredible.
Not just him, but so many other people in this show that jump from sleeve to sleeve. I mean, their accents were so believable, but that at first I think, well, this now we're hearing how the person really speaks, and then they switch into something else. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm really wrong here because that sounds totally convincible. I mean, the detail in terms of not just the storytelling, but the execution.
Right.
In terms of not plot, but also the characterizations was just beyond comparison. I mean, I really think that this is probably one of the most underrated shows to come out from Netflix at this point.
There were a few accents. I can truly understand if he's that good at switching accents, then that's probably the reason why he was cast.
Right.
For number one. There were a few of the Russian accents that weren't quite believable. Maybe that's because I've seen the actors elsewhere. It's sort of like, when we saw Jason Isaacs doing an American accent. Like, no, that's not quite. I know he does a very nice American accent, but I just don't buy it.
Right. Yeah. There were a couple of points where in Jason Isaacs that his accent came out on a couple of words. You could really hear it, but yeah.
I don't.
Anyway, we're not going to talk about Discovery.
I don't want to go down that road. That's for another episode, which we may or may not have.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we have to have that deep dive talk too.
Oh, we keep threatening and we haven't had it yet. We keep running out of time.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anything else you have? Any comments about this? The world building.
Well, on the world building, I guess this actually is part of it, and I agree with you completely about the whole big push on introducing us to Ortega's family, because right towards the end when they all get massacred.
Oh my!
Yes.
I mean, to me that was just, dark isn't the word for it.
Yeah.
It was one of the most grim things I'd ever watched.
Well, as if that wasn't bad enough, they take her into VR and make her relive this over and over again. It's like,
I know.
This is crazy, people.
I mean, it's psychotic.
Well, it just shows the madness of that dystopian future and why I think they were kind of making some political statements with that.
Well, I think there are also, but yeah, there was that, but I think there's also this big social statement because I don't remember how well they dived into this in terms of the series, but I did some reading on the web about this, and the way the story reads is if you are being uploaded into a new 3D print of your own sleeve so that you achieve that kind of immortality, you can do it endlessly. But if you're jumping from sleeve to sleeve, different sleeves all over the place, you can only do about 10, because then the consciousness starts to go completely bonkers.
Yeah, I forgot about that detail. You're right.
Yeah, and what did they call it whenever somebody was new in a sleeve? The sleeve.
Sleeve sickness.
Yeah, sleeve sickness.
Right.
Yeah.
So I wonder in the case of especially these people that have been uploading themselves over and over and over again. Granted, I could see why that could, on a very passive level, even start to corrupt your moral center at the very least, because now you're greedy for that sense of immortality, and I could see why that would help to drive the character of Raylene, in doing what she did, or at least orchestrating those things that she did, because it's all about having that sense of immortality with the people that you want.
Well, and living in multiple sleeves.
Well, we don't know how many sleeves Raylene lived into.
Well, there were at least 3 that we saw.
But they were all the same.
No, right. She had clones. She had clones and clones and clones, which is how she kept going.
Well, she may have had clones of herself, but she also had other sleeves that she would pop into.
You're right.
That's
you're
right.
She went into the little girl. She went into the guy. Yeah. So you're right. She was hopping around.
That's right.
Too.
She was hopping around. So that might have helped to mess her up as well. So it could kind of that also helps to inform that whole dystopic kind of world that everybody's living in at that point.
Yeah.
Hard to say.
No, that's a good point. There are a lot of subtleties of secondary and tertiary storylines and processes about the rich are entitled, they can do all of this other stuff, and because of that, these are the artifacts that are going to happen. Whereas somebody who is gets the bargain basement bin sleeve,
right.
They have to deal with these other things. You may not even get the right gender that you requested.
Exactly. Yeah. I thought that was a really interesting. They did that 2 or 3 different characters, and I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah, but it worked so great with the grandmother.
Great, yeah. Oh gosh.
With the grandmother, I loved it. It's like I wanted her to stay,
and the wife too. So that was really great. So
yeah, I mean it's funny because
with the wife, that was awesome. It really played with the whole regeneration thing.
It did, and it was funny because when they got into the VR world, her daughter, who immediately recognized her,
right,
and yet it didn't take long for that actor to convey that, and suddenly you see her as the mother. I don't even remember what her picture looked like, but to me, she was the mom.
Right, exactly.
In this family of the Elliots, and all 3 of them, the Elliots are going to take this place down. It was wonderfully done, and it tells me to see people more than skin deep.
Well,
it reinforces that idea that you need to know somebody for the soul that they are, for who they are. Not and this fits well with your show. It's not about gender. It's not about preferences. It's not about it's who you are on the inside that makes you the person that you are. And I thought that came through very well for me on the show. I got to the end, and especially with that character with Mrs. Elliot, went, that is just so well done. I'm glad they held that up and said, remember, it's who you are on the inside that counts.
Absolutely.
I so well performed, because the father, how he once he got over that initial this is my wife kind of thing, I mean it was like, well, this is just a simple fact,
right?
Yeah, I thought it just, in spite of the dystopia that we're seeing in that society, they're clearly showing that in other aspects, humanity has really managed to make this personal evolution.
Yeah,
which kind of shows that there's hope. There's hope for us as a species if we can learn to do that in spite of this horrible world that we're all living in. So it's a fascinating look at society that is both taking a negative and positive turn at the same time.
Yep. Yeah, and I hope they don't take 2.5 years to make the next one.
Oh yeah.
So, well, that's
hopefully it's in the process right now. Yeah.
I haven't heard anything yet.
Yeah.
I have not heard anything.
They're probably getting initial numbers back because it's only been out a few weeks, and I would say that based on the success that I've heard and the rave reviews that I've heard, they shouldn't have any problem getting renewed.
Well, I would hope not. Granted, I mean, Netflix has just got a whole slate full of new original content that they're going to be producing. And with that, I mean, I understand when they did Daredevil, how when that first came out, I mean, within just a week after it dropped, they already announced a second season. But now with all this content, now they're in a situation where, they can be more selective and more choosy as to what they think is worthwhile to keep putting out there.
Well, and they've got the financial backing to produce very, very well produced shows.
Oh, and this show was incredible. The production values, the CGI, everything.
Yes.
I mean, it was all perfect.
It was so immersive. I mean, you believed in that world. It was just fabulous to watch. I can't wait to see where this is going to go.
We're going to have to watch that again. We just got a new 60.
That's right. We just got a brand new 4K television.
So did we.
Yeah. So we need to watch. We need to take a look at this now.
Yeah. We went to Costco. It was
good job. Yeah, I really enjoyed it in 4K.
Yeah, we went 55 to 60. We were going to go 65.
It won't fit.
The 55 or the 60 was cheaper, so
yeah. But now in retrospect, I think the 65 would be too big. It wouldn't fit in the corner.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I got to watch it again. That's right, because now we got the 4K Apple TV too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't wait to see this again because visually it was just spectacular.
Yeah.
Very colorful. All the detail.
Yep.
Yeah, they spared no expense on this. I didn't read what the actual budget was to make this thing.
I don't have any of the details behind it either.
Yeah. Well, this was great. We had this nice discussion on Netflix original series Altered Carbon with Mr. Chuck Tomasi of Mr. Technorama. So,
Let's do it again.
Let's do it again.
Sure we shall. I'm sure we shall.
Thanks a lot, Chuck.
You're very welcome. Thank you. This is Chuck Tomasi, author of Podcasting for Dummies and host of Technorama, the podcast for geeks. And you are listening to The Two Gay Geeks, because geek is better than cool.
And here's a few selected birthdays for April 2nd through April 8th, 2018. April 2nd, Buddy Ebsen, who was Pa on Beverly Hillbillies.
Pa?
Or Jed.
Jed.
Yeah, but he was, yeah, that's right. I don't know. I've lost my mind. He was also the Tin Man.
He was originally going to be
Tin Man.
the Tin Man, but he couldn't handle it because of the
makeup.
silver paint, the makeup.
Yeah.
He was
Well,
having
they
a bad
changed-
time with it.
They changed the paint when they discovered it was cutting off all the oxygen to his skin.
Yeah, because
so-
it turns out, Buddy Ebsen was originally a vaudevillian.
Yeah. So, also on April 2nd, Linda.
Shout out to Mapes.
Shout out to Mapes.
Oh, now we have to watch that.
The housekeeper. Yes. Also, Alec Guinness. Oh, I should have put the Mark Biaggi back in. I took the Obi-Wan out this time. So, anyway, also Hans Christian Andersen, Clark Gregg, and Dr. Demento. April 3rd, Doris Day. And, we always talk about having Doris Day parking. It means she rolled always in every single movie.
Exactly.
Rolled right up to the front of the store.
Every episode of her TV show, it's even in her opening credits for at least for one season, she would just drive right up there to a spot right in front of the door to whatever shop she was going into. So, yes, that is Doris Day parking.
Doris Day parking. And April 3rd, also Jane Goodall and Marlon Brando. April 4th, Hugo Weaving, Robert Downey Jr., Anthony Perkins, Craig T. Nelson, Graham Norton, Kenneth Mars,
The Fuhrer never said baby.
and Marguerite Duras. She was born in 1914. I wonder if she's one of the
Duras sisters?
One of the ancestors of the Duras sisters.
Yeah.
Although she was born in Ho Chi Minh City, she was French. It says that she was a philosopher and playwright or something.
Sometimes the French language and Klingon sounds very much
know,
alike. It's
I
all
know.
that guttural thing. Yeah.
Yeah. April 5th, Roger Corman.
Oh God.
King of the B
King of
movies.
the B film.
I think actually his movies are what spawned the modern terminology of B movie, because B movies originally were like the flip side, the B side of, they were also released movies or movies that were released in conjunction with another or as a lesser than.
Yeah, but now it got assigned like a grade level.
Yeah. Also on April 5th, it's amazing. The next four people
This is
were
huge.
all contemporaries, and they were all born on the same day.
Amazing.
Gregory Peck, Betty Davis, Frank Gorshin, and Spencer Tracy.
Wow.
It's amazing.
That is wow. That's Hollywood history right there.
And also on April 5th, Haley Atwell and Herbert von Karajan. April 6th, Michael, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all, Rooker.
And the funny thing is, now, we just watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 again the other night, and the death of Yondu is one of the roughest things I've ever watched in terms of a Marvel film. I mean, it's heartbreaking.
It is. It really
Especially
is.
the scenes leading right up to, when he, he's got Star-Lord, and he says, that man may have been your father, but he wasn't your daddy. I'm like, oh my, you start to get all weepy.
Yeah.
So the irony is, now that Yondu is dead, Michael Rooker has really taken it upon himself to just appear all over the place in Yondu makeup.
Well, and Mary Poppins.
Well, that too, but I mean, she's always showing up in places as Yondu.
Yeah.
Which it kind of
cool.
says, how much he really appreciates the part.
Yep. Also on April 6th, Paul Rudd. John Ratzenberger, who is Pixar's Lucky Rabbit's Foot.
He's their go-to guy.
Yeah. And Mr. Merle Haggard, who put my hometown on the map. Yes. We're not going to say what that was.
No.
April 7th, Percy Faith, and I don't dare
We don't play that tune.
the theme song from Summer Place. We got
we got
it was a copyright infringement on YouTube for that, but
yeah,
we were just playing it as part of his tribute to him. Also on April 7th, Billie Holiday, Francis Ford Coppola, Jackie Chan, Ravi Shankar, David Frost, and Marjorie Stoneman Douglas.
How appropriate for that last one there.
Absolutely. April 8th, Katie Sackhoff, and imagine that, Richard Hatch.
Wow! Katie Sackhoff and Richard Hatch have the same birthday?
I didn't know Richard Hatch was a reality star.
Oh, that Richard Hatch.
Oh, it's a different Richard Hatch?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was... Okay. Anyway, I think I did this last year.
Yeah, you did. But a year has passed, so it's, what's old is
always
new
fun.
again.
Yeah, exactly. Also on April 8th, Julian Lennon, Robin Wright, and Mary Pickford was born in 1892.
1892?
Yeah, she was a silent film star, and just in a ton of stuff. And that is it for the birthdays this time.
Technorama, the podcast for geeks, because geeks are better than cool. You don't hear someone say, "Get away from me, you cool person." Who's gonna have their 65-inch home theater system installed by the Cool Squad? Not me.
Nope, we did
that's
it.
for sure.
We did our
How
own.
much cool cred do you have? Not enough to care about. Think you'll find any canned unicorn meat at thinkcool.com? It's just a part domain name. They don't even have roadkill in a paper cup. That's why you need to start listening to Technorama, because that's what geeks do. Go to chuckchat.com and listen to Technorama before you turn cool.
Go give a listen to our friends Chuck and Craig over at Technorama Podcast or at chuckchat.com/Technorama. And now it's time for...
No feedback. Exactly.
Yep, exactly.
We're saving that for next week because we're
on vacation.
We're in Disneyland.
But if you want to leave feedback on this episode
Please
or
do.
anything that we've done, please do. You can do that at our website, tggeeks.com, or on our Facebook page, or you can comment on Twitter if you wish, if you have the Twitter. And you can also call us on our listener feedback line at 469-TGGeeks. That is 469-844-3357. And as always, please play nice.
Yes, the force is strong with the 2 Gay Geeks webcast.
And this time...
More conversation.
More conversation, yeah. This time we talked to Chuck and Craig about Star Trek Discovery, our thoughts and their thoughts, and our rants and their
praises.
So here we go. We're going to go right into it. And this time we're going to talk with Mr. Chuck Tomasi and Craig Stapp from Technorama Podcast, and we're going to talk about
something we've been
Discovery.
we've been putting this one off for a long
aliens.
time.
Aliens, yes. Well, they did have aliens, yes. Klingons.
Yes.
Or something that looked like Klingons.
I was referring to the Ridley Scott. Ridley.
Ridley Scott Ridley?
Ridley
Scott Ridley.
Ridley Scott. Oh, no, it's Great Scott. That's what it
No,
is.
it's Randolph Scott.
Randolph Scott.
We just hijacked our own show. Oh, my God. Can we do that?
How about that? We're actually recording at Technorama Studios. What is
Binary.
Binary Studios in Phoenix, Arizona today, and we're going to talk about our thoughts on Discovery.
No, I'm not that mean about it. I'm
Not
sorry.
that
Not
mean.
that mean.
Yeah, you two have an interesting perspective based on the hints and innuendos I've gotten from you.
Oh yeah,
that you are.
We're not the biggest fans of the
not
show.
in the mainstream with
No,
the rest of the fans.
you know,
Well,
we
but
never,
what
we
is the
never
main-
are.
Hold on.
All right.
Let's
I'll
back
see you
up a
guys
second.
later.
What
kidding.
exactly is the mainstream? Because I can go to social media, and to me, it really seems 50-50 split.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's what I see.
I've been hearing more positive than.
I see a really good number of people, but see, it breaks also down by age.
Right.
Yeah.
The older people seem to be really kind of down on it. And, you know, they range from
Wait.
just hating it.
We're close in age, so you're going to have to define what
Older
old
than
is.
me.
I'm 8 years older than you, Chuck.
I'm only 7 years older than you.
Are you 60 now?
Are you?
No, I'll be 53 in a week.
Oh God,
really?
No,
No,
I'm
no.
not 60 yet.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
58.
you-
I'm 5 years older than you. Anyway, I'm older than you.
Hey,
We're
get off my
older.
kids, you Lon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you talk about, I'm talking about people that were, you know, in their youth when like original Trek was on.
Mhm.
Okay.
And these are the people, I mean, some of them were like, okay, yeah, many of them were initially down on Next Generation, but kind of came around. Same thing, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, etc.
Geek Space Nine.
Geek Space Nine, yeah.
Geek Space Nine.
But a lot of that generation is just really not grasping Discovery that much.
Right.
They're kind of really down on it, and they're kind of hitting it on for many of the same reasons that Keith and I are really
Yeah.
down on it. I mean, okay, you can take some of the canon issues, and there are a few that just really make me want to pull my hair out.
Well, I've already pulled all mine out. So.
Yeah.
I don't have any hair left to pull out.
Isn't it fair to say there were also canon issues with every other series? I mean, every show is
but they
standing
always
on its
manage
own.
to retcon
They found they would find some way to
appropriately.
kind of turn it around and fit things back into the canon. Well, we haven't seen any evidence of that
Right.
so far. Although I keep hearing first I heard the writer say, stick with us to the end of season 1, and then you will be rewarded for all you people who are having canon issues.
with a single shot.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And now they've actually gone around and said, oh, no, you have to wait till the end of the series.
Right.
And then you'll be rewarded. It's like, now I feel like you're playing me by doing that.
No, I think
And I don't dig that.
I think that they've got to dovetail it into TOS, because if they don't, you know, it's not going to look right. It won't. It'll kind of be, you know, kind of.
Well, my
But
question
am I seeing
is,
any effort on that part?
Well, my question is, how the hell are they going to do that? I mean, they've made all these things, and the way I look at it is, it's an okay show. It's a good show.
It's a decent sci-fi.
But I can't look at it as Star Trek.
I can, from the standpoint of they've got the Federation values. They're
Oh,
I
but
mean,
they're
fighting
all
for
of that
it, yeah.
aside, I mean, yeah, it's not Star Trek the way I would have envisioned this being Star Trek with.
I think that's one of the endearing things, though, to
values.
me anyway, is it's a new view on. We don't go around blowing up planets. We could, but we're not going to. I
Right.
mean, Saru's speech in the engine room was a defining moment.
yeah, but we
for
didn't
that show.
get that until we start getting towards the end of the series.
Right.
because they wanted to keep you in the dark about Lorca. That
Well,
was one of the things I think that made the
see,
writing
but
really
that's
well.
been-
Okay,
that
and
was
that's-
almost telegraphed from the very first
It
episode.
was.
You know,
Lorca was
he
very much telegraphed, but the problem again,
But there was something strange.
Yeah, we knew something was
about
off when he
him.
wasn't answering Cornhole's
Cornhole.
Admiral Cornholio.
I need TP for my warp core.
You worked too hard on that one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're
It's late.
being red right now.
Yeah. He's even more red than he was before.
Yeah. I did the hand though.
But the thing that was really bugging me, especially right from the get-go, is that one of the things that I loved about Star Trek, even after the series started to become more serialized, with Deep Space Nine and with Voyager and with Enterprise, at least we still got that morality play. And I was not seeing it. Not here. What I was seeing was the Federation and specifically Starfleet is just as corrupt as we are today. We've gotten no better. We've learned nothing. And to me, that speaks very badly about humanity in general. And I took enormous offense with that. And that was really where I fell off the rails in terms of the show. I mean, were there moments that I thought were interesting? Yes, there were. The return.
There were some good episodes.
There were some good episodes. I mean, the return of Harry Mudd, where he got to do all the time traveling, that was a great bit of fun right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I wasn't getting that sense of this is the ideal that we're striving for.
But see, that's the whole thing was
we didn't get that until the very end of season 1.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was gonna say that was all part of the arc of
Lorca's deception.
Michael.
Yeah.
Michael's
Michael Burnham.
I know.
I'm telling Chuck.
Michael Burnham.
Oh,
Yes.
Michael
I'm
Burnham.
telling Chuck.
Michael's
he's sitting here with this
redemption.
question on
That was
his
all
face.
over redemption.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But and yes, I do remember the writer saying that we're going to attempt a storytelling that we've never ever done before. We are going to so instead of thinking as everything in an episodic format, these are going to be chapters of one big book. Okay, fine. You want to write like that? Write like that. Guess what? I don't like it. Pure and simple. I don't like it.
It was just odd. I mean, the canon issues really bothered me. Of how come we've never heard of the spore drive?
Yeah.
How come we've never heard of Michael Burnham, daughter
Spock's
of
sister,
yeah,
stepsister,
and
whatever.
Michael
Stepsister.
Burnham, the traitor.
In fact,
all of this stuff. I mean,
Well, you didn't hear about her because her record was expunged.
Her record, that is true. Her record was expunged.
Yeah.
But I find it hilarious.
Well, I find it hard to believe that.
I find it hilarious that now, of course, I'm doing some very strange retconning in my own way here. Tholian Webb. There's a line spoken from Spock himself where he says there has never been a record of mutiny in Starfleet history.
Right.
Now, granted, that line was spoken in the 1960s, and this is a TV show that was just filmed last year.
Yep.
Okay. But keeping that in mind, and the writers proclaim to be, we're huge, massive Star Trek fans. I'm calling shenanigans on that one.
Somebody's not doing their homework.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
They just want to write a good story.
Yeah.
Well, they think they want to write a good story.
And that's the typical of the people running the show. Is they write what they want to write. They don't care what's out there and any canon that they have to adhere to.
The big thing that just really set me on edge were the Klingons. I mean,
Was it the new makeup job or
a lot of that was.
a lot of speaking Klingon in the first 5 episodes?
Well, no, actually, not so much the Klingon in the first 5 episodes. That didn't bother me. In fact, and I actually applaud that they did that.
Yeah.
But what really bothered me is that they completely reinvented the Klingon Empire as it stands. There's only 23 houses now, as opposed to God knows how many we've seen in the past. And each house looks different. So each house has a completely different physical appearance than the other. So obviously there's no marrying from one house to the other. You guess you don't do that anymore. And then so what about the Klingons that we know that got affected by the metagene from the episode of Enterprise to explain the more human appearance? Where do they fit into all of this?
Yeah, and when does that happen?
Tyler. I think that's where Tyler fits in.
Tyler?
Oh.
Please tell me
He's
you're
running
joking.
around screwing Klingons.
Screwed that one.
Yeah.
Screwed that up, huh?
Yeah. I mean, we even saw like the House of Kor
Right.
in there as well, and they appeared to be completely unaffected. Yet we know we met Kor. We meet Kor once in original series, and we meet him again a couple of times in Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine. That's
And by
right.
the time Deep Space Nine comes by, he's gotten his old appearance back, but looks nothing like the House of Kor that we saw in Discovery. So I get the feeling that somebody thinks that they're trying to be just enormously clever, and unfortunately, it's not working
Yeah.
for me.
Well, I want to go back to that. It was a good show. I just
I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it. I just couldn't.
I was disappointed by it.
I couldn't watch it as Star Trek. I had to watch it as something completely different, as setting it by itself as another program.
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
and I think
so-
I did that in my mind too. It still, it carried the name Star Trek, but I enjoyed it for the story it was
Right.
telling,
Yeah.
and I didn't try and
yeah.
retcon it.
And every time I started thinking it was Star Trek, that's when I would get angry.
yeah.
You
Now,
know? And then I'd have to remind myself, oh, this is not Star Trek.
right. So,
Other than in name only.
yeah, so now, so
It was
Keith
a
and I,
Steino.
Keith and I have been really hogging this conversation.
Yeah, sorry.
I really want to know
Yeah,
what the
what-
two of you think on this. Chuck, you go first.
I thought it was a wonderful story. I sort of looked past a lot of the canon fodder.
Well, that's what it became.
Yeah, exactly.
I enjoyed everything from the music to the lighting to the effects to the writing to the acting. I thought the actors did a marvelous job.
Yes, they did.
They were probably one of the first casts in Star Trek history that the fan
That they
base
gelled together. Yeah.
latched onto immediately, and they
Yeah.
said, "I love Stamets, I love Culber, I love Saru."
I
thought-
love Saru.
He is probably my favorite.
I think he was
Doug
my favorite, too.
Jones
Yeah.
Did a masterful job
Yes.
under
Yeah.
all that makeup
And-
conveying that
And
character.
I will say that I appreciate the show for all of that too. It's when you look at that and say, look at that technology and look at original series.
Yeah, a little bit of
And how-
retconning there.
and I understand.
Exactly.
You know.
They're not going to go back to cardboard sets
No.
and Christmas
No,
wrapping.
no. But it is just,
No, but
It's just one of those
hollow
things.
communication like that. You know,
Yeah.
The
wow.
hollow communication was off.
Yeah.
At first
So
I
it
went,
was just-
spore drive. Well, and we tried to reconcile that on our show by saying maybe it didn't work and they had to bury those files somewhere.
Which
You
is
know,
what-
do the-
which is what I think they did.
Do
I
the
think,
Raiders
yeah.
of the Lost Ark thing, and
I
That
think
makes
they
a lot
did
of
that.
sense to me,
Yeah.
though. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and that's probably what they did. You know, her Burnham's record was expunged, but I find it hard to believe that somebody doesn't know about it and it's not still part of gossip and
Lore.
conjecture, etc. But that's probably where they're going to go to fix the canon issues.
Craig,
Yeah.
And that, yeah,
what are your thoughts? Because I understand you like the show.
I loved it. I understand the issues you guys are talking about to a degree, but I'm also open to newer things. Like if there's a adaptation of a book, I don't need to see the book I just read. I'm open to something a little different, like Ready Player One. I know they changed some stuff in it. I'm looking forward to it anyway because I don't need to see the exact same thing. But same thing with Star Trek. I was looking forward to it being maybe something a little different. Try something, change it up a little bit. Although I like the episodic stuff. I also like the longer storylines, like in Deep Space Nine.
right.
But I think they did a great job. Each episode was almost like a mini movie in itself. The special effects, the acting, it was all encompassing. Again, to echo the thing about the characters, there was I'm gonna tell you, I don't know what part of me I got really invested in Culber and Stamets, and when
Yes.
Culber got killed, I jumped up off the couch and was like, "No,
Well,
no!"
oh.
Don't even.
Well, we need
Oh,
to
man.
touch.
even go there.
Well, actually,
But
we
I mean,
are
I
going
was
to go
like-
there because
Yeah.
that's
it's your show.
Well, no, but that
Yeah,
was
it's
the
your
one
show.
thing that just really just I'm
I
going
mean,
to say
it
it just set us off.
it
We got
was
really angry.
It was such a
Hey, my son was sitting on the couch with me and I was watching. I jumped up and I'm like, no. He's like, what? I was trying to figure out what was wrong with me because I was like, he got killed. But
yeah.
so a lot of those characters I ended up getting a little more invested in, especially Stamets. I'll admit, I think he was kind of hard to swallow right at first.
oh yeah.
You know, but-
They gave him a really good arc.
Yeah.
I will
Mhm.
say that.
Yeah, he got better as it went. Yeah.
And it's all that jumping that did it, and yeah, he became a much more likable individual.
Right.
The thing that really bothered me most of all
It was
is
so
that relationship
stereotypical.
between Stamets and Culber, because now, I mean, we kept getting all this press about we're
Oh,
going
the
to
first
have
gay couple.
a gay couple, a same-sex couple. This is to show how far we have come as a people. We're going to have them. We're going to see them having a relationship on the ship. And what do we
And
get?
then what do they do?
Yeah, I
They
don't
do
think
the
we've seen the end of it.
They do
I don't
the
think we've seen the end of Culper,
stereotypical
though.
thing that everybody has done. You can't have a same-sex relationship without somebody dying or ending up, damaged in some way. I mean, it's just
Which means
it's just.
Yeah. I was very infuriated at the fact that they killed Culber the way that they did, because we didn't get that much screen time with him anyway.
Right.
We saw just hints of the relationship, so we knew that they were a couple, and then they kill him. And
but wait, there's more to this relationship.
No, there's not.
No,
there's not. Culbert is dead.
I don't think it's Star Trek. I don't think we've seen the last of him.
Culbert,
and that's what they've said too.
And all we did, we got him back in like dream sequences and things like that.
It was that death isn't final statement that they made earlier on, that there's like this, I don't know, death dimension that both Stamets and Mirror Stamets were in.
Right.
And Culbert was kind of I'd like to explore. Actually, I'd like to explore more of that.
Well, that interdimensional kind of thing. I mean, it's possible that we may go into that. But again, the thing that bugged me though is that we kept getting this hype about this couple, and we're going to see a happy couple on the ship. No, we're not.
Yeah.
In other words,
it always turns unhappy.
The PR people, they fed me a line. They gave me something to latch my hopes onto. I didn't see it, and now it feels more like pandering.
Yeah.
And that
I was trying
really
to stay
bothered
away
me
from that word, but it's what
but that's what it felt like. It felt like pandering.
Yep.
And I take great offense to that. So I'm very unhappy that they made that particular artistic choice.
I'm going to play What If. What if Stamets finds another relationship in second or third or in the future seasons?
As long as they don't kill whoever.
That's how life goes. I mean, you deal with tragedy, and can you move on? Do you move on?
Well, I think it's that they pandered to.
And why would they do it then? Is the big question.
That's what happens in any same-sex relationship that you see on TV and a movie that's not same-sex related film. Is they can never be happy. So
which is I've never noticed the pattern, but now that you've pointed it out, I'll probably recognize it.
There's always some kind of external force that is set out to make them unhappy because that's what mainstream audience expects.
Go back to not Falcon Crest, Dynasty.
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 Well, I mean, he was never happy.
Nobody on that show was happy.
Well, that's true. Nobody was happy at that point.
Straight, it didn't matter.
Yeah, but even after Steven finally manages to finally set up a relationship, what do? They kill the other guy.
Yep.
So
exactly.
that's the pattern that we've been seeing since 1970s, 1980s, all the way up. That's the pattern we've been getting in television. Even David Gerrold's own story that he wrote initially for Star Trek Next Generation, which then ended up becoming part of Star Trek Phase 2, which was Fire and Blood. They kill the other character because we have to suffer.
Right.
We can't be happy.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you because I remember thinking the next day, kind of process it because I watched it again, and when Cobra died, and I was like, how do you just dismiss that after you made such a big deal about it?
Yeah.
Everywhere. They made a big deal about it everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I don't know. I don't think it's it's the first season. I'm sure I don't think we've seen that.
Well, again, now here comes the thing. This is one of the things that we talked about with Jonathan Latt about, it was about another movie, but it's that same thing. If there is an organic reason for Stamets to get into another relationship, then I am all for it.
Absolutely.
But if they decide to put him in another relationship because the audience is pissed off, I don't want to see that either.
Right. Yeah.
Because again, that's another form of pandering.
Exactly. So I think that I like the show for the show itself, but not as Star Trek. And I think that you were kind of in the same. I'm in the same, but I respect the fact that the two of you. And I appreciate people that have picked it up. We're probably not going to pay for CBS All Access. We didn't. This year.
I did not pay to watch one episode of that show. I kept getting free packages.
Yeah. He kept
saying,
really? I'm going to cancel. Oh, well, here's another month.
Here's another month.
Here's another month free.
We interviewed Larry Nemechek, which will be coming out on the Topic is Trek episode.
Yeah.
Over at the topic is
Trek-orama.com.
and he was saying, I'd like to talk to the people where this is their first Trek experience. They don't have any legacy knowledge or baggage.
Which,
I'm sure they will love it.
That'll
In
be
fact,
an,
I would-
maybe not.
It's
I
a
don't
pretty
know.
slick.
it's a slick looking show.
production.
Yeah.
And it's very possible that this show, much like the J.J. Abrams movies, they were
my
made not for the long-term Star Trek fan.
Yeah.
They were made for people who were not fans of Star Trek, who knew nothing about it. And we even had that same conversation with Larry at Phoenix Comic-Con a couple of years ago, that it was made for, every new show is made for a new generation of people in the hopes that they'll go back and discover the old stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's what Discovery is all for.
Who knows?
It may not be meant for me, and in fact, it isn't.
Hey, by the way,
I'll
when,
wait till
when
it's on
Chuck
Netflix.
when Chuck asked the question, what if Stamets gets into the relationship, I was sort of thinking, we're going to go back and see on his hollow screen, he's going to be swiping left and right, trying to look for a date.
There you go. On that note, we'll wind this
Yeah.
discussion up on Star Trek Discovery.
I mean,
or
we'll
we'll just call it Discovery.
We'll see it. If I can get free, free subscriptions again, because I'll do another trial run, and because I'm cheap.
I do want to watch it again, just for the Easter eggs and the telegraphing, like you said.
Well, by then it'll hit Netflix.
Yeah.
So that I can watch it.
Free.
To my heart's content. We'll do that.
Well, thank you, Chuck and Craig, for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
And talking about Discovery.
yeah, we did all the talking.
Yeah,
Sorry.
sorry about that.
No, it's all right.
It's our show anyway.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. And as always, we have our little talk about what we ran this week or this last week on tggeeks.com. And obviously we had episode 162
For Monday.
And on Tuesday, I believe we have Andrea doing a book review of Alien Tango.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a new old classics newly reviewed. It's Mrs. Brown, You Have a Lovely Daughter, or something like that. And then Thursday we had 3-episode thoughts for Timeless that you wrote.
Woohoo!
And on Friday we have more new sushi from Hamish. Saturday we have a not spotlight, but we have the Poison Pen bookstore over in Scottsdale that we covered. And then on Sunday we did a Spotlight Sunday on Alan Smithy.
Alan Smithy.
Yeah, so check that
the
out.
legend.
The legend. Oh my gosh. So many movies. Unbelievable.
Such a multi-talent.
Multi-talented, yes.
He's such a nice man, too.
He was such a nice man. Find all these things at tggeeks.com, and you can check out our website. Please do that. If you're only listening to the webcast, please go to our website and check out all of this stuff. We try to publish something every day of the week, and you can leave comments there as well. And as always, we have our follow-up items. Check out our calendar for events, cons, film festival, etc. And speaking at the film festival, we're right in the middle of Phoenix Film Festival, April 5th through the 15th.
That's going to be a
That's
really busy
actually,
time.
yeah, at the end of the week.
Yeah, because I just realized that right in the middle of that, we've got another press screening for another film coming up. So it's like, wow, we are just going to be
it's
so
just
busy.
going to be crazy busy. It's April 5th through 15th at the Hartsdale.
Wow!
Harkin Scottsdale
Oh,
101.
wow, that was epic.
I don't know how many films they have this year, but last year they had 250 films and 25,000 people over 11 days. Check it out. We're sponsors this year. There's lots of really good films.
It really is one of the biggest in the country, if not the world.
It's a great film festival. And Phoenix Comic Fest happens May 24th through May 27th.
Oh, my word.
Oh my gosh, I can't even talk. I need a vacation. And Arizona Opera presents Das Rheingold in Phoenix, April 6th through the 8th, and Tucson, April 14th and 15th. Still tickets available at azopera.org. Check out the 3rd edition of Podcasting for Dummies, written by T. Morris and Chuck Tomasi. Go to podcastingfordummies.com. And as everybody knows, we are huge supporters of independent creators, whether they're filmmakers, comic book artists, writers, etc. Please support those independent creators, buy their stuff, write reviews, etc. And I think that's it for me this time.
Oh, you're not going to talk about Teresa Corey?
Not this time.
Not this time. You're done.
Okay, we'll talk about Teresa. Fairy Godmother Travel. She's wonderful. check out the widget on the side. Tell her Ben and Keith sent you.
You're retired.
I'm retired.
Special shout out to Doctor Who Talking Who and the Human Arkle. They're both on Twitter, and they both put out paperly issues. If you don't know what paperly is, just go to paper.ly and see for yourself. Anyway, both Doctor Who Talking Who and Human Arkle, they republish our content, and we greatly thank them for that. Doctor Who Talking Who's is the Doctor Who Fancast Guide, and Human Arkle's is the Arkle Times Post Dispatch News. You can find them by going to Twitter. Doctor Who Talking Who is at Talking Who, and the Human Arkle is at Arkle. That's Arkle. And Arkle, or Brian Weber as we know him, also has a presence on Tumblr with the Incorrect Star Trek Voyager quotes. Check it out for some fun entertainment. And lastly, we have to give a shout out to our favorite Facebook group, The Gay Geek, for allowing us to share our content there. And I've got I just picked up some really great screensavers for my iPhone there. I love that. I love them. They're awesome. And the URL is facebook.com/group/thegaygeek. And as always, their high moderator, Jeremiah Reeves, is the one who said, yes, you can share your stuff here. So we thank you, Jeremiah.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Want to remind you to occasionally click on our Amazon ads. You can find those at the bottom of each article or webcast episode. You can also find widgets on the right-hand side of the page for people that we like, and you can buy their stuff via those links. And lastly, check us out on iHeartRadio and at Spreaker and Blueberry. You can rate us and review us on iTunes and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for your support. I can't even think that far in advance. I don't know what we're going to have.
I have no idea
week.
what's going to be going on actually in 2 weeks.
Yeah, who knows? We'll have something though for you.
We always do.
Okay, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for this webcast episode. We're going to have several links on the page of things we talked about. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website at tggeeks.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. From TG Squared Studios, I'm Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. I bid you peace.
Cheers.